Thank you so much for all the information. My name is Camila, and I'm part of Vine Skills team. I'm working on the FVDA team, as Jasmine mentioned. So today we are going to walk through some tricks for front-end users working inside Filevine, and then we are gonna shift gears and show some admin users how to create templates, how to set up all the templates for Fireband, and of course we'll have a plenty of time at the end of this session to answer all your questions related to FVDA. I'm just going to apologize myself because I'm not feeling really well. So if I have to mute myself, just to have that in mind. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Um, Jasmine, can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Um, Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to start with the front end side. So this is for anyone who generating documents day to day, whenever they are like demand letters, closing statements, or pleadings, motions, multiple documents in here. So the first thing every front users needs to know is they how they actually generate the documents. So the first step is like they need to have an invitation to Outlook. This is a really important step. This is something that we add like a configuration in the backend, but you will receive, let me in here, you will receive an invitation. So as you can see, we have like in here, you cannot, all the emails that you need to be involved with the document creation. So you need to be invited just to generate the documents in Fileban. That's the first step that we need to be aware of. If you don't have the invitation, you can contact us, or you can contact like the admin person who is working with FVDA. So they will send you like an invite, and after that, you will be able to create the documents in Fileban. So I'm just going to be focused in the side of my screen first, is where is Filevine. So right now I'm working in a personal injury project. So that's the information that you will see in this session. So most of the time you'll find the document generation widget inside the project. So it depends of the section that you're going to generate the documents, but I'm just going to be like really basic in this time, and we are going to look up for the widget in the case summary. So in the case summary, you will find just like a widget like this one. Sometimes they have a title. Like in this case, it means that in here you are going to generate the settlement calculator, but over here you can have multiple widget names and you can generate multiple documents from a widget. So this is where you're going to find like the option to generate your documents. Over here I have another example that it's the case summary template. So if you click in here, let me delete this one. Um, in here, there we only have like one document attached to this widget, that it's a possibility as well. But in here, you will have like a list, so you can choose. You will have these two options. Um, all right, so we are going to generate that document from here. I just prepared one document. Let me open that document in the backend for you to see how it is like the formatting in the backend. So this is the document. This is like a demand letter, like basic one. So I'm just going to type the name of the document. This one it's also really important. Like all your documents will have names. And this is the way that you can generate the documents. All right, so I'm just going to look up for the document that I want to generate, and I'm going to select that option. You can change the name. So if you're going to add this document to your folders or you're going to download the document, you can change the name if it's needed. So, sorry, I'm just going to have that. So in here, you can add, I don't know, Fine Skills Test. And this is the name of the document that you will see. and you will click on generate. It just takes a few seconds to generate the document. Once you have the document, you will be able to open the document and just to create change in the document or just complete the document itself. So you can see you will have the date according to the document generation date. So you can identify if you are generating this document just the first time or you have another option. All right, so the first thing that you will see, like the face of the document, is you will see like the overview. So we usually use the overview to give you instructions to fill up the document. In this case, I have this question right here that indicates a conditionality. So if I'm going to the backend, we have a condition. If the document goes to litigation, we have one paragraph. They need to show one paragraph, but if it's pre-litigation, it's going to show another paragraph. That's why we have this option right here. If this option is in blue, as is shown in my screen, it means that you need to fill up that variable in Filevine. But it's not necessary just to go back and complete that information. In this case, you can just click the variable and you can select the value. So you have the options. So in this case, it's a yes, no field. In this case, I'm just going to select yes. As you can see, the variable changed from blue, and now we have the answer to that question. This is the only instruction that I have right now. It's just like a basic one. But if I click on the document, you will see how the document looks like. So first, what we will have in here, just put like the logo and like company information. You can do that, but you can also add your your headers according to the letters that you're sending, footers, even more information if it's needed. Then we have this variable. This variable is for the today day, as you can see in here, but I just configured that just to add like the date that you are generating the letter. So that's why it's the date of today, but you can change that. So if you select that variable, you will open the option, and if you click on the date, you will see like a calendar. So you can go back to June, May, or you can select the date that you will need. When you select the date that you will need, you can click on update and it will change the date. Then we have this paragraph right here is where we have like the insurance adjuster information. So just to make sure, the insurance is a collection section, right? So collection section means that you can add multiple entrances to like the same template. So in the case of insurance, if your case has multiple insurance, like, I don't know, they have like multiple insurance for I don't know, for a car accident. So in here you can select which insurance you want to direct this later. So in this case, you always see like your collection sections like as blue variables. That means they need to take action for you just to complete the document. So I'm just going to select that option, and as you can see, my screen, it will open up just like a table. So in this case, you can select what information do you need? So let's go with the test adjuster. That is information that I have with my adjuster in the contact cards. I'm going to select this one. So you can see we have information for insurance company, address. Let me see what else. Last name, claim number, and this is like the default address from the contact card. So I'm just going to select this one, and let me show you over here how the collection section looks like. Oh, well, let's continue with the template, right? So once I select like all the information that I need, as you can see, the variable changes, and now we have like the test that we are looking for. In this case, that we have the adjuster information, we have the insurance company information, and then we have the address. For the other paragraph, we'll have date of loss, claim number, and claim, right? So this information belongs to your build. So means if you are adding that information to your build, it will be automatically, it will automatically appears in your template. But as you can see, there's multiple variables in blue. Means that we need to select the information, or it means that the information is not completing in your build. So this is just like a sorry. So this is just like a quick double check with that. So if it's missing, for example, in this case, in intake, we're gonna have the option to describe the injuries. It means that you have entered that information in your build. You're going to see this option right here in blue. Uh, we have two options in this case. The first option is to add it manually. So you can type the information in here and you can click update, or you can go back to your template and complete that information in your intake. So let me look up for the template and I will show you. So let's go back and review if we have the information. So in the section of injury details, you will see that it's a blank space in here. So if I'm adding a test, let's test over here. And if I'm just going to click on some information in here, just to review if we need to complete it. And I'm just going to click on save. Once I click on save, I'm just going to take summary and I'm going to regenerate the document. In that regeneration, you're going to see that the describe of injuries is now completed. So
For larger documents, sometimes it's nice to have those data points in this screen that Camilla's in now, that overview. So you don't have to scroll to kind of make sure that you don't miss any. But in the instance that maybe it's not something that needs to be filled out, but maybe just data is not there, those blue arrows really are great indicators for like, hey, this info doesn't have any place to pull from. So keep that in mind.
thank you so much. Yes, the idea is to have everything in the overview. So you will be able to check first the information, and after that, you will select all in the document. So let me look up for that for that variable. As you can see, that we have the text for the describe injuries in here. There is another let's say like option. It's like we have to select the information from your collection sections, as I was talking about with the adjuster. So let me just complete the adjuster again.
And because this document is not living in that collection section, that's why she's having to select which option that she wants because it's in the case summary. Um, if you have multiple data points that you're bringing in from a collection section, it'll look a little bit different, but it will still allow you to select which items or item you want brought in.
Right. So I'm just going to complete the information manually. I just had this example for you because I think it's really nice that you can interact with the document itself. But let me add some information here.
Camilla, there's a few questions.
Okay,
When
yeah,
you
perfect.
regenerate, it creates a whole new version of the document as opposed to adding it to the existing one, correct? You'll then have multiple versions of a document show up under the generated documents heading in Filevine. Is there a way to just update the existing one so it doesn't show so many times when you regenerate?
Actually, I think it's not possible. Like you need to regenerate the document. So the important thing in here is like you're not going to see the document like the last version in your files, for example. So the only way that you can have this document in your files or download it or in your files is like you save it. So it's only going to show like your last versions in here in this widget. Um, it's always better if you regenerate the document.
Yeah, regenerating it allows for the system to pull that new data in. You can always make adjustments to documents that you've generated. So if it's not like, oh, I filled data in and now I want to make an update, maybe you're just making an update, you can always do that in a version that you've already generated. There are also some like options. When Camilla is clicking on those blue options, you'll see, is it called like sync or something like that? Where it will
Mhm.
say once or something along those lines. There's some options there. You have remote sync. So these allow you to push, pull, and bidirectionally sync. Not all of the data points will have all of those options, but that might provide some more flexibility so that you're not regenerating all of these documents. Maybe you're doing a bidirectional sync. So as you add data into here, it's filling into those fields. Note that if you do that and you do a bidirectional sync and you make an update here, it will update the data in Filevine. So it can override data that's already in there. So just be cautious there. Right. And then, Camilla, when is it best to use a report fusion versus an FVDA document?
All right, so basically can from a static section. So it's going to be the same as fiber, but I'm sorry, from FVDA, but in the case of FVDA, it's more dynamic, I will say. Like you can select the information, we can create calculations from like fiber in itself. Like for me, it's simpler. It's more than a reperfusion. In that case, I will have like a real example, like a settlement calculator. It will be like a really good example. Of that. In there, you can add just multiple medical providers. You can add multiple insurance, multiple liens, multiple expenses, and you us in there. So the formatting will look like a little bit different from our report fusion because in report fusion you have like the Word option and the Excel, the spreadsheet. In here, just like a simple document with more dynamic options. I don't know if you have anything to add, Jasmine.
Yeah, I would say report fusions allow for you to use Excel formulas, right? And outside of calculations, if you're using like concatenate or any of those like pivot tables or anything, FVDA is obviously not going to do that. And so in that realm, a fusion might be better. If you're doing something like Camilla mentioned, a settlement statement, FVDA is probably better for that because not only is it easier to use and update, but you can also pick and choose which items. So if you might have 20 medical items, but you only want five in your document, FVDA makes it really easy to choose just those five, whereas a report fusion will bring in everything from that section, and you'll either have to do some manual work or use formulas again to kind of narrow that data down. And report fusions require maintenance, right? FVDA documents are going to require maintenance as well, but it's a little bit easier maintenance, in my opinion. Report fusions obviously do have some really great capabilities and functionalities, but usually if folks are not using those formulas or don't need data put in a certain way, um, that's when that's going to be best, right? Fusions, you can use criteria to narrow down what you're looking for, what's pulling in. FVDA allows you to use conditional logic to narrow down when data points are going to pull in, but it's slightly different than what you're going to see in a report. Those
So
are
I
the
have
only options for now.
thank you so much. I have an example here. This is just like a basic settlement statement. As you can see, we have like a summary paragraphs where you can like we have two different options to do that. So you can connect fields with Filevine. We usually connect these fields with the negotiation settlement or maybe the links or maybe the expenses, the information that you will need, or you can type in the information. So let's add in here 33%. Let's create a settlement offer. So this information is not going to be in Filevine. It only lives in your document itself. But you can mix that information from Filevine and with information that you will have. So in this case, you will see like these three arrows. That means that you need to select that information. So we're going to select expenses. Let's see, I think we have meds. Yes. So for meds, you will have the option to select the meds that you will need to include in this element. So if I'm only going to include one medical expense, I can do that. Or you can include all of them. So if you click on update, the information will shows like a table and it calculates a total. So right here in the summary. So it will calculate everything. Let me see if we have links. Yes, but we don't have like amount. So it will be like a zero. And for expenses, it will be a zero. And then you will have the information for the client and signatures if it's needed. So I think this is a really great example to show you. It's like you can it can be very dynamic. So it's I think it depends of your needs or your of your needs, but I think this is a great example and hope that it works for you. Let me see, there's a
Does Outlaw allow for formatting of data similar to modifier filter booleans in docgen merge fields?
Hmm. Um, I'm not sure about that.
It,
Do
yeah, it will allow for you to reconfigure like for everything to be uppercase or lowercase, but there
yes.
isn't the logic of like the last four digits of a social security number, for instance,
Mhm.
or whatever number. Those string modifiers are not available. It does allow for date transformations. So you can do standard prose, you can do verbose, which would be 21st day of. You can also do a perfect. Camilla has kind of those options for the date, right? Date of the month, day of the week, all of those things can be extracted, but it's not going to be the same exact list as those booleans in that you would have in a docgen.
Yes. We also have another option I would like to complete your answer. It's like we can create variables from Outlaw itself. It means that there are variables that you need to enter manually and doesn't live in Fileban. So let's say I'm just going to add a variable and I'm just going to put the test. Maybe this can help, but we have multiple data transformation in here. So we have like date, we have number, currency, percentage. We can create list, we can create multi-select list. We have this option for US states. We have an option to upload images into your documents, to create tables, and to even create contacts that are outside of Outline. Um, so yes, basically that's the information or the formatting that we have for now. Um, and then for the text transformation, as Jasmine mentioned, we have the option for uppercase, lowercase, or no text transformation needed. We only have that for now. All right, so I'm just going to continue this option from the front user. And just let me move the questions here. All right, so I'm just going to talk about the most common mistakes that we can see while you are creating your documents. So the first one is generating the document before all required fields are filling in. So if you are missing information in your build, just make sure that you you complete that information manually and we can pull that information from your file bind, or you just go back and review if you're missing something in your build. Then number two is double checking collection sections. So these are remember that these are repeating sections like medical providers or involved parties, because if a row is missing or is incomplete, it won't show up correctly in the final document. So that's another point that we need to review after that. And number three is confusing which fields need not confuse which fields need to be part of your document when a dot generate or a test version or create a test version first if it's needed. So we just need to review those strict checks just to avoid any common errors while document creation. Another trick that you have is like we have this option right here that it will show us you that the stage of your document. So we have this stage that it's set up. We cannot continue with the other stages because we don't have an expense in this case. So I'm just going to add some expenses in here.
There's another question,
Mhm.
Cami. I know
Well,
that the letterhead is set up through the team tab in Outlaw. Is there a way to set up multiple letterheads? For example, we use a different letterhead for letters than we do for our contracts, but from what I've seen so far, it appears that only one letterhead can exist.
um, actually, we can create multiple conditionalities to Outlook to add multiple letterheads. So I have plenty of examples, but let's say you need to have a letterhead based on your office location. So let's say that you need an image and then you will need like I don't know, a text with the address and different phone numbers. So we can create a conditionality in your documents based on the locations, office locations. So in that way, you will have multiple letterheads and it will depend of the information that you will select in Filevine. Let me think if I have an example here just to show you. Um, s- let me finish this up and um, I
Yeah.
can, I can give you an example. Let's create. Okay. Uh, let me pause one sec my screen just to look up for um I have an option to show you so you can see that oh, we can create one example. All right, so I'm just going to review in here if I have the information that I need. Maybe it can be an office location. Let's see. I don't think so. So I'm just going to create a variable. So I'm just going to back to the backend of FVDA just to show you really quick how we can do that. So let's say I'm just going to create overview question that says please select the location of office. And I'm going to create a variable that's related in FVDA only. So
And where Camilla is at is the overview. That's that first page that kept popping up when she would generate a new document. So these are, hey, this needs to be selected prior to actually seeing the document. And the variable she's creating is an outlaw variable. She kind of mentioned this briefly before, but this allows for you to bring in data points or use them as conditional logic for things that you're not necessarily tracking in Filevine. And you can see this drop down here allows you to choose what type of data that outlaw variable is going to allow.
yes, totally. So in this case, I'm just going to use the option for US state. So it will help us to bring into the template all the US states. So I'm just going to click on here and update. And I'm just going to create my headers. So in this case, we don't have a, but we have multiple options to create headers right here. You can create headers with one block, or if you click in this option, we can create headers with 3 columns. So we can modify like the formatting of your headers if it's needed. So in this case, let's see, I'm just going to delete this option right here. So let's say like the image for the office logo. So let's say I'm just going to add the logo. I'm just going to transform this data into an image because I just need to upload an image. Let me see if I have an examples here. No, we can use. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's just add an image over here. So I'm just going to click on update. All right. So you can see I have my variable with my image. I will have, I don't know, the page numbering here, page count. I'm so sorry. We have multiple formattings for the page count. So in this case, we have page 1 of 2, but we can add page 1, number 1 of 2. I'm just going to leave 1 of 2. I'm just going to center align this option. And in the last column, I'm just going to add a random address. So address for Florida, let's say. Once I have this option right here, the next step is to add a conditionality. So I'm just going to add a condition in here. I think this is a little bit more advanced of how you can build your templates, but I'm just going to go through this topic really fast, just to show you how it looks like, all right? So I'm just going to add a conditionality. I'm just going to look up for the state, the variable that I created previously. So if I select that option, we have like 4 options to add conditionalities. Is one off, is none off, is known, or is unknown. In this case, I will need like is known. If it's Florida, I need this header to show up. So I'm just going to look up for Florida right here. Hmm, here, here we go. So this header, it's only for Florida. So I'm just going to add another header and I'm just going to add the same conditionality that it's a state. And I'm going to select this one for Alabama. So let's add address for Alabama. Okay, let's add page count. Oops. Another thing that I just need to do is just to configure the option to print the header. So we have 3 options from document to start, do not print or first page only. You're going to need this option in first page only. First page only. We have the page count. I'm just going to leave the page count differently. And then we have the same logo. So I'm just going to copy the part. I'm just going to go to flow. We can generate documents. Well, it's not a generation, it's just like an example from FVDA. So if you are in charge or building your documents or generating like a maintenance in your document, you can test your documents from FVDA. So in this case, we have this question that I'm just going to type yes, and then we have the states. Here you will have a list. So I will say this is from Florida. So if I go back to my contract, as you can see, you have the header for Florida. Here you'll have the address, page count, and your image, your logo from your fair. But if I change it, and if I click from Alabama, it will change the text. You can change the image if it's needed. You can change like the formatting. So I hope this helps you resolve that question for you.
And you have the ability to turn off the other one so you're not seeing it like 2 times. You can also use like watermarks if you're like, I need it to be more in the center of the page, things like that. They said thanks.
Yes,
It was
you're welcome. So this is a really good option. Um, so just let me go back to where was it? Okay, so I'm just going to continue in here just now that we can have multiple examples so we can move this document from the stage settings to done. It's set up. So I'm just going to add this information really quick. Let's select expenses. So we have one expense. Then we have multiple medicals. Just going to select them all. We have liens, but we don't have an amount in the liens, so let's add that option. As you can see, when I completed all my fields and completing to my document, the stage changed to done. In that option, you can view your document in PDF, or we have this icon right here that you can have like a preview. Then you can download the docs, or you can download the document as PDF, and we have the other options to save it into your Filevine fields. Uh, and yes, that's basically how you can generate documents in Filevine. I don't know if you have any questions or you want to go through anything in here into your document creation, or I don't know, Jasmine, if you want to add something to this process.
No, I think one thing that I like to tell my clients is if you know that you're still going to make edits to the document and you want to make those like in the template here, right? Because it's a little bit easier to select data and things like that. Wait to save it as a PDF or docx. That way you can make those changes and you don't have those multiple iterations. Because once you go ahead and save it or download it as a docx or PDF, any changes you make to the original template will not flow over into that downloaded version. You'll have to download a new one. Very similar to DocGens, FVDA documents have the ability in the backend to be mapped to a specific folder and auto tagged. That mapping doesn't follow over once you download, but that gives you a little bit of a better opportunity for some of that cleanup, right? Somebody mentioned, hey, there's multiple versions. You can have all of these documents go into like a draft folder so that you're not seeing all of the different versions and getting confused. And then once you have your final version, that would be your docx or PDF, which you can kind of choose where that saves to once you've downloaded it or saved it into your docs section.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just going to move to the back end of how you can create your own templates. So we have 20 minutes. Everything that I have in my mind in here, just a really good advices or best practices that I have for you. So let me see. All right. Um, I'm just going to close Five. I'm just going to be focused on FVDA and Outlaw page. So now if you're an admin and you are creating your own documents, you will need to have access to the Outlaw page. Just make sure your accesses are correct, because if you're only going to generate documents in Filevine, you will see an access that it's a viewer. But if you're going to generate your own templates or just create I don't know, edits in your templates, you're going to need an owner access. So that's a really important thing. So you can have like the same view that I have. So in this case, I'm just going to be focused on this section that says templates. And I'm going to continue with the option to create new templates. We have three options to create templates. So you can generate like a blank document. You can create documents from existing. This is a really good practice that we always share with our clients. Is like we create like a master templates. So in that master templates, you can have all your captions, all your addresses, all your signatures, like your basic information for your templates. And after that, we only create documents from existing. So in this case, let's say I'm just going to create a template for correspondence. You can keep these links to existing template. So this one will help you if you need corrections in the future. So you're only going to create those conditionalities. I'm sorry. You only need to create those corrections in your master template. So it's a really good advice that you can file. Let's add a currency. I'm just going to type
For
it.
clauses, things that you're using on a regular basis, we'll sometimes create a template specific for those clauses so that you don't have to guess which template that they live in. As Cami mentioned, you just have to go to one place to kind of make those updates and it trickles for anything that's connected. And so that's what that linking does. If you're like, no, I just want the formatting of the document and not really the verbiage in some of those paragraphs, or I don't care if I change it in one place and it doesn't change here, then you don't have to keep them linked.
Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to create that as an example. You can add your template title, and the template key will generate after the title, but if it's a template that they have the same name, it will appear just like an an option in here that it means it's an alert that it means that the template's already created with the same name. So you can do like you can change the name so the template key will be like available. You can add a description. So let's see if I don't know if you can see my screen. Sediment calculator. I will have like this option right here. Sorry. This is the description. So you're going to see that option in your page, but you're not going to see that option when you generate the document in Filevine. It's just for admin users. Let's go back in here. And yes. I'm just not going to add a description. I'm just going to create the template. So as you can see, we already have a lot of variables, a lot of formatting into this template. Um,
My
so
question relates to DocGen instead of FVDA. We have found there's a limited number of DocGen templates that can be viewed in a section. Is there a way to expand the number of templates you can view or choose from for your DocGen? Are you meaning in like the drop-down list, or where are you seeing the limitation for viewing the number of DocGen templates?
from the I don't know, I have an idea from the widget maybe, or
That's
from
what I'm
where?
guessing, but I haven't seen that limit myself.
Because sometimes you will see like you don't going to see like the whole list, but if you start typing, you will find the document, but I'm not sure.
We'll give them a few to respond, but feel free. I'm going to do some digging on the back end too, Camille,
Okay.
while you're doing that.
Perfect. So I'm just going to continue here. As you can see, we have you have this option that says like this section is linked to another clause in a different template. Um, so we have the options. You can remove the clause or we can keep that. The next step is like you need to create the connection between Outlaw and Filevine. So it's pretty simple. You go to this option that says Manage Template Settings. If you select this option and click on Connections, you will see that you will have a connection with Filevine. But you need to set up like the project type. So I'm just going to choose my personal injury template. And then you need to select the section name. So this means that you're going to generate this template from the section that you choose in here. So in this case, if you don't have a widget, you won't see the document. So just make sure that your connection is totally related with the information that you have in Filevine. So in this case, widget for FVDA in case summary. That's why I'm just going to select that section. If you type,
Did I understand you to say that if you type the name of the template, it will populate even if you cannot see it by scanning down the drop-down list? For for FVDA, yes, you can type in. For DocGens, let me just verify.
I'm just going to continue and you can interrupt. All right. The other option in here is like you have a proofing ID. For me, this is really useful because when I am creating documents, when I am creating templates, I always like to check, to double check if the information that I am adding to the template is correct or is going to be related with the file by build. So this option right here will help me to do that. What it means like in this case, I have my test project. So I will need to select the project ID. So in that template, do that project and I can do like my own QA from FVDA. So that's a little trick that I always use just to double check if the templates make sense, if they are having the information that the document needs. So if I click in here and create, it will appear this option that says like they are syncing. Once they are connect with your Filevine, you can test your document, you can add your connected variables and everything else. So from your connected that I just did, I just go back to flow. And as you can see, the information that I have in here is going to populate according to the information that I have in my trace project. Check, I can change things if it doesn't make sense. Um, if I go back to my contract, I will have like a lot of information. Um, all right. So in here, I just create a template from another one. That means that I have a lot of things in here, but I'm just going to create a new paragraph. So for a new paragraph creation, you can go in this plus icon. You will have multiple options. I always feel like the paragraph option. And another trick in here is like if you create a new paragraph, you always see the option that it's paragraph title. If you are adding a variable in your paragraph type, work. So I'm just going to show you. To add variables, you need to open a bracket. So in this case, we don't have anything in the screen. I'm just going to add a variable from Filevine. So if you want to add a variables from Filevine, you need to select a plus. In this case, we don't see anything. So sometimes the users comes to us and like, I'm trying to add variables, but FVDA is not working. And this is a mistake that we can do. So in this case, we don't have nothing, like nothing appears in my screen. It's because the paragraph is in a paragraph title type. But if you click on enter, you will change the paragraph title to body. In this case, you can add multiple variables. So if I open a bracket, you will see that I'll have multiple options. So, but what can you add to your templates? Of what we can add. So you can create variables in Outlaw. That's the ones that we were talking about later. So you can add like I don't know, like today date or information that you don't need or is not necessary to have in Fileban, but you need to complete your documents. So the best practice that I recommend for this part is that you can name your fields clearly and consistently. So for your future you or your teammate. So if I'm going to add just like a variable that doesn't make sense or is a aberration, the person who is going to generate the document in the about it. So I always try to add variables that means what you need to add in here. So let's say I just need to add today's date. So I'm just going to add today or to it's going to make sense for the people who generate the document to complete this variable. Another, I don't know, if you need like the initials of the names at the end of the document, just try to type like, I don't know, attorney, let's say staff initials. So it will be really clear. Um, if you open the bracket, you will have multiple options as well. We use calculate variables. We can create formulas. We use calculate variables for settlement statements or disbursement. But we can create parties. So if you need to send this document to a party that is not in your bill, we can create FVDA in here. You can add a secret variable. So this usually works when you are going to send a letter that they have, I don't know, the social security number in there. So the social security number. So it means that you can enter that information manually, but when you generate the document, it's going to show like a password formatting. So let me show you really quick. Mm, so let's say I'm just going to add a few numbers in here. But when you send a letter or when you generate a letter, you're only going to see this option right here. So it's useful if you needed to create an option for that. I know that sensitive information is, so this is a really good option that the FVD has. The other option is the connected variables. So if you open a bracket and add a plus, you will have all your um, you just need to complete like open the bracket, add a plus, and add FB underscore, and then you can start typing the fields that you need to be connected in your template. So another trick that I can give you in here is like you can type the name of the section first. So let's say I'm just need an information from the insurance section. So I'm just going to type insurance. As you can see, we have an option to select like the full table that will grabs you like the information from all the collection section. But if you select another underscore, you will see like all the variables names from the insurance section. So as you can see, you always have like the plus FB underscore name of the section, and after that, you'll have like the name of the field. So in this case, if I need to select the claim number, I can continue typing that information. But if you are not sure what you're looking for, my recommendation is just to type the section name or just go back to your file and confirm the information that you will need. Another good practice is like I always have the file open just to guide me um, if I'm grabbing the correct field for my document. All right. If it's a contact card, like in this case, you will see like multiple information, like even more information from a normal field, from a text field. So in here, you will have like the whole contact card information. So you will have like the addresses, you will have multiple addresses, phone numbers, emails. You can have even like I can't remember how you say it, but the configuration that you add to your contact cards, you will find it in here. So as you can see, like it's a really complete list in this case. It's not just like the email. In this case, we have different colors for the variables. Blue are the variables connected with Filevine. Purple are the variables that we create in a FVDA. And we have the one that they're in green. We have another light blue. We have like it identifies two colors according to variables. And let's finish with the footnotes. So you can add footnotes, you can add paste it through here. Uh, just, just and confirm. And then you will have the footnote. Also, in the side of my screen, you will have multiple options. So I know we are running out of time. Really quick. So in here we have a closed library. In here is where you can add multiple conditions to your documents. Another tips that I can give you in here is like you will see in this option right here all the variables that you have bring to your document. So let's say if I want to add a conditionality to my document and the variable is not in here, functionality. So a great trick in here is like you can add the variable first to your document and then you can delete it. Document like the document that I have in here, you're going to go to elements and then connect the variables and you will means that you can use. So this one right here is really helpful. You can review the variables, you can delete them. In here you will see the variables that I create from FVDA. You will see the connected, the references, secrets, parties, and calculate variables in here. So it's like a control of the page. So you will have a little bit of formatting. So you can add letterheads, titles, you can add themes, you can add the watermarks, and then numberings. And then let me go back in here. We have the formatting of your document. So you have just small type of formatting. In here you can, in the your paragraphs, you can section style, so you can add borders, spacings, override levels. Like this is growing every day. In FVDA, like the formatting is growing every day in FVDA. So I think we are out of time, but I hope this it was really helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we hope this gave you some I give you some practical tools whenever you are generating documents or building the templates behind them.
Thank you, Camilla. If any of you are going to Lex, feel free to reach out. We have a discount code and a link to get you signed up. Early bird registration ends at the beginning of August. So, again, feel free to reach out. If you haven't followed us on YouTube, definitely do that. We put out a lot of really great content. Camilla, thank you so much for providing your expertise today. Hopefully, you all learned something, and we hope to see you in a future free help session. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.